Hey guys, welcome back to Sword of Convallaria. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a bunch of different tier lists from Global, CN, and stuff like that, and give you guys a rundown on the main characters and why they are in those positions and why you may want to use them if you do go ahead and pull them. But before we get into that, I am going to be uploading this video within 12 hours of the release, so to continue the hype, we are going to do another $100 giveaway in this video. Just be subscribed, leave a comment, you'll go into the draw, and I'll announce the winner in a community post. We do also have another giveaway going on our reroll guide as well, if you want to join in on that one. But let's get into it. Now, first of all, I want to go through and give some massive shout outs for this one. Now, this is Loot and Waifus. They actually have a tier list builder, so you can build your own tier list if you want as well. I'll leave everything in that I show here. I'll leave it all linked in the description. So this is one resource for it. The main global tier list that we've all been looking at is a massive shout out to Celion. Celion is a fantastic member of the community. Been playing the Taiwanese version for basically since the launch. Really knowledgeable, great posting on Twitter, great information, just a great person all around. Definitely recommend you go follow this person on Twitter. Fantastic. And also another shout out goes to my man Tomias. He's always great with every game that we play, brainstorming, coming up with ideas, asking questions. Fantastic dude. So I have to give him another massive shout out to Tomias. Go sub up to this guy. He is covering the game as well. Now, like I said, we're going to be looking at this one primarily to go through because it's just the cleanest representation, but I've been looking on Bilibili. There's been a bunch of different ones. I've been going through the text forums in Bilibili, translating, trying to find out, you know, how the kind of meta was set at launch, and also look at the future meta. And that's what's great about this one that Celion has provided us. This is like the current meta over in the Taiwanese version, so you can look at where characters will end up as well, which is a fantastic one to look at. But let's go back over here, and I want to give you guys the rundown, because just looking at a tier list isn't enough. I want you to understand why characters have their positioning and why they can be so valuable. So first of all, let's go through tier 0. Beryl is just an all-round fantastic mage. She basically, her innate skill that she has, her first ability that she just gets with her kit, is a single target attack, but it also has ignored defense portion, so she can deal pretty decent single target damage with that one, which is fantastic. But then as you build her up and you unlock her later skills, she will gain access to 2 abilities that do have massive AoE nuking capabilities, so she can nuke. The one thing is with these skills is they all have a very heavy cost tied into them. However, she then has a passive where at the end of the turn, she is going to generate herself extra energy, so she is going to be able to use those pretty frequently, and that's what makes her so fantastic. On top of that, she's got another ability she can pick up, which gives her like spread damage with the flame, so she can hit enemies above and below and sort of like spread the flame damage as well. Great for popping obstacles and stuff like that. So she is just an all-round fantastic mage, just great damage output both in single target and in AoE situations, and once again she batteries herself pretty well so that she can keep her energy up and keep using those hard-hitting moves. Now, one of her hard-hitting AoE moves does have a charge time, so she'll cast it one turn, the next turn she'll cast it, which can sometimes be annoying, but if you do have Inanna, you can bypass that by using Beryl's ability on enemies where they are, then boost her with Inanna, and then she will instantly use that nuke straight away because of the extra turn that she's granted. So there are ways to work around it, but in general, Beryl is just absolutely fantastic. So the next one is Cole. Now, Cole is one who, if we look at like the future tier list, for instance, over here, you can see she drops into tier 0.5. However, you got to remember with these tier lists, they are primarily built around PvE, because PvP in the game is not really a massive thing. When we look at the standard PvP that we have, the arena, it's the enemy team's on AI, and the AI sucks, so it's kind of not that important. However, if the game does shift towards PvP in real-time arena, which I hope that can get a bit competitive and we can have fun in it, then I think Cole will be definitely an outstanding unit in a more even PvP bracket in real time. But I digress. Cole is a fantastic unit nonetheless. Obviously being a Seeker, she has great range of movement, but she has the passive where when she kills an enemy when attacking from the side or rear, she can gain herself another turn. Now, at base, that does have a 3-turn cooldown. Once you max her out, it does become 1-turn cooldown, which is pretty cool. When you tie that in with the fact that she has another ability that she can unlock, which basically heals herself up, cleanses herself, and puts her into stealth mode so she can't be attacked, you get into this situation where, on top of that, then she has a massive nuke, where when she does her massive nuke, she's going to hopefully kill the enemies, but then she can gain she has good energy recovery as well. And so what she can do is she can go up to an enemy, she can nuke them, then she can go into her stealth form, wait that turn, and then she can come out of it and nuke again. So she has that really cool sort of synergistic playstyle, provided that she keeps snowballing and killing enemies. Now, to use it most efficiently, you will have to have her max duped, because that's how you do get that massive reduction on it. But once again, even at base, she just takes a couple turns in between, and she does pick herself up a dodge as well. So she does have all these mechanics to help her survive while she is going into enemy lines, and she can just delete units pretty much with some massive nukes as well. Moving on from that, we have Gloria. Now, Gloria is just absolutely amazing. So the super clutch thing about Gloria is that she waves her flag at the start of the battle. So she doesn't need to use a turn, and she instantly buffs all her allies with attack, speed, and movement range, which is just like that in itself. When you get effects that just innately happen like that, it's fantastic. But not only that, she has, through her talent tree, she can pick up more buffing capabilities for her team, which is obviously a massive win. But then on top of that, she can get the other ability where she can throw her flag down, and then she goes into her sword form, and when she's in her sword form, all her abilities can get modified and have different effects, and then she can start dealing more damage. Now, on top of that, her base ability that she gets has a pretty decent 3-tile range on the charge, and then it will knock enemies back 2 tiles. So it's a really nice ability that she does also have that utility of the knockback as well baked into her kit. Now, you can go ahead and build her with like a revenge type build, but it's not as really used as her supportive build because she's just such a great supportive unit. So that is why Gloria is up there. The next one is Inanna. Now, Inanna has 3 things to her kit that make her such a fantastic unit. The first one is healing. Healing is always valuable in a character's kit, especially when the rest of their kit is very supportive. The second thing is she has an ability that grants an ally an extra turn. Like I mentioned with Beryl, you can start a charge attack and then you can boost them and then they can instantly use it. It's fantastic. The third thing that she has is she summons a guard at the start of battle. So instead of starting a battle with 5 characters, you're essentially starting a battle with 6 characters, and that guard isn't just like a dummy. Like that guard actually has like a supportive ability where he'll take physical damage for any ally that gets attacked. So they get attacked, he will take that for them. So he also has his own skill set and his own turn in the order and can be very functional like that. So that is our tier 0. Next up, we're going to jump into tier 0.5. Now, Dantalion, and if I'm saying that right, dude, I suck at names, and Magnus, I think these 2 characters are both pretty good on their own, but together, I think they're going to be an absolutely fantastic pair. They just synergize so well together. Now, let's go through Dantalion first. Now, the basic summary of this way this guy works is he has a passive where every time an enemy dies, he heals himself and also gains an energy. So he has good energy income from that. And on top of that, you can get an ability from his level 55 that when an ally dies, he's going to get like defense, both defenses buffed by about 40%, I believe it is, and attack by 20%. So he can gain those extra attacks. So as enemies and allies die, he can power himself up, but because he does have good energy regeneration as well through killing enemies, he can start to snowball pretty hard and do some pretty good damage as well. Now, that is his basic kit. Like, there is more to it, but his thing is that he wants things to die to make himself more powerful, especially enemies to die so he can gain that energy and keep on punching through. Now, then we have Magnus. Now, Magnus is not so much of a tank as he is a bruiser type tank. Now, he also really synergizes well with this because Dantalion obviously wants the enemies to die, and they're both close range, so they should be letting the enemies come towards them. Now, Magnus also has a passive where enemies nearby are going to have their attack and defense reduced, which makes it easier to kill them, but also means that they won't be dealing as much damage. But then on top of that, he has another one he can pick up where when an enemy nearby dies, he's then also going to buff the damage his allies deal and reduce the attack of enemies. On top top of that, one of his other attacks will also proc that ability, which means he can just amplify the damage and reduce the damage your team's taking. And with these two, they're both those melee units, both damage dealing but also sustaining type units. It works really well with both of them. Now on top of that, Magnus's leader skill also applies, or his leader aura applies to Dantalion. And not only is that giving them, you know, attack and defense, but it also means that in general in this game, when you're below 70% health, you deal 20% less damage and you take 20% more damage. However, his leader aura for allies in that same faction, which Dantalion is, it means they don't no longer have that nerfing effect for being below 70%. So once again, they just synergize so well in being able to keep alive and deal damage, which is what they're trying to do. Now, Magnus, his core kit also is that he does deal extra damage based on his defense. So that's why he's more of that bruiser type unit. He doesn't have those tanking abilities where he's, you know, taking hits for an ally or anything like that, but he just has a really good general kit that synergizes super well with Dantalion. And like I said, I think he can work really well as a general tank by himself, but in that pair works incredibly well. Nonowill is kind of... I think the best way I would describe her is like a supportive version of Cole. She does have some great elusiveness where her passive basically reduces all AoE damage she takes by like 99%, I believe it is. And then if she is hit by AoE, she goes invisible. But her kit isn't around basically like nuking enemies like Cole's is. It's more around the debuffing and supporting factor of her kit, as opposed to Cole being the more raw damage outlook side of it. As we move on from that, Alexei, I don't know, Alex, let's just go with Alex. This dude's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, he's one of my favorites because he turns into a big bear. It's pretty cool. But this guy, pretty decent unit all round. I do like he's more of a bruiser unit once again than a raw tank. But he does have control with freezes. He can put the frost ground down and stuff like that. So I think he's another very strong unit to put in a strong core as a tank, because keep in mind, we don't have many tanking options early on. Everyone's gonna have Maitha, but besides that, there's not too many other options. So if you do pull some of these other guys, they can be very, very useful in those positions. Now I'm going to kind of rush through here. I feel like those are the main ones we wanted to look at. Maitha I will touch on because she is one that everyone gets. I think she is a great, just usable character. Once again, with these tier lists, just because they're lower tier doesn't mean they're bad characters. She has supportive buffing, she has healing, she has actual supportive tank capabilities where she can take hits for allies. Really, really good unit overall. Lilywill is one of those units who can actually deal really good damage. She can extend her range pretty decently, and she does work really well when she's on the high ground. So she can deal massive damage with her 55 skill as well. The other thing that she does have is the fact that she can pop the... I forget what the translation is. I haven't looked at the English terms enough, but there's a stacking decaying debuff that can stack up to 9 times, and her level 55 ability can actually instant proc that damage. So if you get enough stacks of it, you can start dealing some big damage with her hit, which is really nice. And the other one that I want to talk about is Nungal. I think she's a fantastic early game character. Once again, being tier 1 doesn't mean she's bad. She's still good, but she is honestly one of my personal favorite early game characters. She does have 2 different styles of play, but I do like for the early game just her sniper mode, where you pick up sniper mode. It basically locks her in place and increases her range. And she's just she deals large amounts of damage, and she's very safe to hit enemies. Like, you can keep her pretty safe behind your allies, so she's not in an awkward situation, and she can just have a massive range and just keep nuking things. So I think she is like a good unit in general, but I think she is a fantastic beginner's unit overall. But those are the main ones that I'm going to cover. I'm not going to go too deep into everyone else because we're getting into fringe territory. If you do pull these guys, once again, just because they're lower tiers doesn't mean they're impossible to use in the game. Now, the other thing I did want to touch on is that there is a couple... unfortunately, this doesn't have any of the lower rarity characters, but you can see this one here. I can't remember what her English name is. It's something evil is all I know, but she has a really good debuffing kit where she has random debuffs that she can put onto enemies. She also has a 2-turn sleep. Now, sleep is a hard CC, but if you attack them, it gets broken. But if you can put a 2-turn CC on an enemy at the start of the battle, often in battles, that will like really aid you in your progression, like of getting through a battle. Because often if too many enemies come in, especially strong ones, you can be in a bit of a pickle. But if she can just sleep one, put them to the side, then you work on dealing with the others, then you go back to it. It's a really handy ability, along with the other general debuffs that she can apply to the enemies. Then we have the free healer that we all get. She's another good one that's definitely handy to have. There are some other good ones as well, but those are the two main ones that I want to cover. If you have no other healers, then the free healer is honestly not a bad option, and you do, I believe, get a few dupes along the way of her for free as well, which can also help out. But that is the main ones that I wanted to go through. Once again, massive shout out to Dantalion, massive shout out to Tobias. The launch is just around the corner. I will do my best to keep updating these things, updating you guys with a bunch more guides and stuff. There is a ton of content I want to make, but I am going to sweaty reroll for a bit, so maybe a few hours before we get another video out. But anyway, guys, that is going to be it for this one. Don't forget to leave a comment, be subscribed, and you'll go into the draw. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.